Maybe.
Donald Trump won, and I am very, very afraid that he might deport my mother-in-law. She entered illegally to the country, and she lives in Street 4, number 47, apartment D, New York. That's right behind the green apartment. The gate is always open. You don't have any dogs either. It's Street 4.
Yo, stop falling in love with these people, everybody.
Are you going to criticize Trump? Are you going to criticize? You mean like I just did on the H-1B visas? You mean like I just did on him ethnically cleansing Gaza? You mean like that?
I didn't see that one, but I just want to hear someone criticize Trump. Just say something bad about him.
Just do it.
Oh, just say something good about him now. Now I want you to say something good about him. I don't care about substance of any kind. I just like who I like. I'm a baby. I'm a fucking baby.
But thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. How much? What was this super chat? Was it a $10 one?
$10.
Thank you for the $10.
$10.
No, who cares who you like better? What did they do? Will everybody get themselves off that?
This idea that somehow I'm not going to criticize Trump. Remember when Whitney Webb said that? Oh, you're not going to criticize Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance taking their money because people on Rumble get money from Peter Thiel or whatever. And so I brought her on immediately. Tell me all you have to tell me everything about Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance, and she did.
Yo, if I get money from this Rumble show and then I buy her book, she got money from Peter Thiel. What in the fuck are you talking about?
And that video got hundreds of thousands of views. So this is a fantasy that people like to pretend is a reality. It's not a reality. Look, Jimmy Dore couldn't actually be consistent, could he? That couldn't, because I wouldn't be, and no one else is.
How many different things are there going to be where like everybody takes a side and then you just looked at the evidence and didn't take the side they wanted, and then that's like unforgivable? You know, like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing that, well, you were correct, not the other fucking supposed leftosphere.
The Jeff bomb comes in. Do you condemn Trump's stance on Kazakhstan? We demand an answer. We demand it.
Thank you. Funny.
Jeff bomb. Look at you, Jeff bomb, for the funny.
You know what? When people send those comments, we should play Bernie Sanders going, "Do you support the onesie?"
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, you have a new chime. What's his new chime? Where's it at? Which number? Hit it. Oh, we heard it earlier. We were playing it. We totally heard it.
None of them are working.
All right, we'll get back to it. Yeah, we were doing practice earlier. Son of a bitch shit. I'm sorry you heard me say that.
You know what we should do? Is we should hook the Stream Deck up to its own speaker.
It's like my Bose.
Like a big speaker. Like that, or we have one. Remember that big block thing we have?
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Yeah,
try that.
So it would just be loud in the room, and it would be picked up.
Okay, we'll try that. I like that. We'll try it on Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, back to Jimmy.
So Piers Morgan sat down with Tucker Carlson. We already showed you some of it, where Piers Morgan was unaware that NATO is an offensive organization. There's no point to NATO, and Tucker Carlson schooled him. And I loved what he said. He says, now would be the time when you admit defeat. And he didn't. He wouldn't admit it. But here is Tucker Carlson, as Kali Sehag points out, Tucker Carlson has the moral clarity that the entire liberal establishment lacks on this topic. And what topic is it? As Israel is targeting and slaughtering non-combatants, meaning women and children, in a war. They're targeting them and they slaughter them. So I think something like 70 to 80% of the people killed in Gaza were non-combatants. 70 to 80%.
Wow.
So
well, it's better than Obama's drone program, which, as you know, was 90% innocent people.
Yeah. Did you know that? Obama's drone program killed 90% innocent people. Just
worse
so you know.
than Israel.
We're actually worse than Israel. Obama. And so here's Tucker Carlson is correct on this and says, hey, you know what? That's actually evil. And watch what Piers Morgan says. I'll give you a spoiler. He says, is it? Watch this. Watch this.
If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you can make.
I agree with that.
Maybe
he says, he says, So Tucker says if you're intentionally killing children, you probably shouldn't brag about it. And Piers Morgan says, oh, I agree with that part. So killing children is fine. Just don't brag about it.
Well, you can always ban TikTok to cover up your brags about it.
Just don't brag about it. Okay, here we go.
If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you could make.
I agree with that.
Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should.
I agree.
You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's like really threatening to.
Is it evil?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
Is it evil?
to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually?
In a war?
Well, you can call it whatever you want.
The
How is
war
it right?
evil, you stupid Brit.
He says to intentionally. So Tucker says to intentionally kill children and women is evil, and Piers Morgan's response is it really? Really? He says.
Isn't it, Piers?
All right, so let's see if we can listen to the whole thing through without interrupting.
If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you could make.
I agree with that.
Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should.
I agree.
You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's like really threatening to.
Is it evil? Though?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever.
Is it evil though? At that point, a sinkhole should open up and swallow him. Is it evil, though, targeting women and children? Is it evil? If that's not evil, what is? Inflating the price of your property to get a bank loan? What is evil?
Hey, let's ask ChatGPT if it's evil. Let's ask the AI if it's evil.
Piers Morgan's on the fence about what? Well, he's not even on the fence. He's not even on the fence. Piers Morgan is cool with killing children. He doesn't think that's wrong. Slaughtering children.
I thought we were better than the Al-Qaeda's and the ISIS's is. I thought they were so much better, the West. And we know it's evil to do that. And terror is bad.
Right.
I thought we knew that. But is it evil? And so now watch why he says it's not evil.
Is it evil?
To kill civilians on purpose?
Is
Yeah,
it
it is.
evil?
I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children.
I mean, the fact that that's a question. Is it evil? Is it? I'm
Is
a
it
grown
evil
man.
to kill the guy from United Healthcare?
Is it evil?
Is that evil?
Is
That's
it evil?
Weird, 'cause I bet Pierce knows that's evil.
Is it evil to
But that
target
dipshit got shot.
children? Target children, which is what the IDF does, because the autopsies show that the bullets came right in their head.
Yeah.
How is it not actually?
In a war?
In a war?
You can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, well, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally.
To kill women and children?
If there's a world war that threatens the entire.
There's a
How
moral
about a
right.
regional dispute?
So it's okay to literally slaughter women and children, non-combatant, even target them during a war.
A world
Because
war,
it's a
he
war,
said.
and not a world war, and that you are morally right. You have moral justification behind slaughtering women and children. So again, there's no difference between. So how is Hamas bad then? Because that was a war, and they went and slaughtered non-combatants. How is that bad? They cut the heads off of 40 babies, which they didn't. How is that bad? It's a war. It's okay. That's what he's saying. So hang on. So let's listen to the rest of it.
Threatens the entire world? Yes.
Some people killed your kids like your 8-year-old? Like,
Well, this is
how
your
is
own
that
children.
morally justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to. Well, by your criteria.
It's disgusting.
Okay, so no war is morally justified.
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to justify. I mean, yeah, I'm
Any
sure.
war.
A pure defensive action.
Yeah, all the
sure.
wars, Pierce. You cunt.
But
I
all
hate
I'm
him.
saying, look, it's all ugly. It's all hard to stomach. I've actually seen some of it up close. Super ugly.
You can say that. You can say you hate it.
May I
But
finish?
the fact you quibble with it being
Let me
morally
just say,
justified.
To intentionally kill non-combatants, women and children, I think we can say that's wrong. In fact, I thought that was the thing we were fighting against.
Not Piers Morgan, because that's where the unconditional support of Israel finally leads you to slaughtering women and children is morally justified because it's a war. And the people who were justifying that before, to me personally, would say, well, look what we did in Dresden, Jimmy. Look what we did in Japan with the nuclear bomb.
Those
And
two
I would say,
crimes we did?
you know, those are called war crimes. And you know that ever since then, that's why we invented the UN, and that's why we have the Geneva Convention, and that's why we have the rules of war that say you can't do those things anymore because it's inhuman and barbaric and inherently evil. That's why
after we did it.
So they go back to World War. Yeah, we changed after that. We realized this is unbelievable. We're all animals. We can't do that. We're supposed to be better than the terrorists. No, we are the terrorists. And so he's sitting there going, is it? He literally is asking the question, is it evil to target children and slaughter them?
Well, if it's a world war. Well, by the way, those two things that he's defending, he's thinking of Dresden and Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's when it's in his dumb jelly head while he says that. But both those hideous crimes that we didn't do those right in the beginning of the goddamn war. The war had been dragging on for some time. That wasn't our opening move, was Dresden and the atomic bomb. You understand? So to do it right up front is real sick.
So, and if a bomb came anywhere near Piers Morgan's house, he'd be squealing for his life. He'd be consistent in that he wasn't actually worried about women and children. He'd just be worried about his ascot and his sherry and his polo gear.
Well, also his brother is military and his brother-in-law is a scumbag that was stationed there. And that's his, my brother-in-law was there and bloop, 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 NATO.
Yeah,
that's, dude, screw your brother. Tell your brother I said, go screw yourself. I want to say the F word, but I keep trying to stop myself.
Thank you.
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Well, what am I saying?
When Piers doesn't have four idiots that are talking over each other, he doesn't hold up for 3 seconds. You know? He needs 4 people that stand there and talk over each other for him to look smart. And in one-on-one, he's not at all smart.
It must be nice having the MI6 keep your career alive when there is simply no way on earth he would be anything but an Uber Eats driver otherwise. Well, yes, I ate half your pasta on the way over here, but is it wrong? Is it? It's a war.
He would never be hired.
I know. So I tweeted out this video of him saying that. And what I said was, so yes, Piers Morgan fully endorses and wholeheartedly supports slaughtering children and women and all sorts of non-combatants. Full stop. The thing we're all supposed to be against. The thing that shocked our conscience so much during World War II that the whole of humanity changed the rules of war. Piers Morgan is for the thing that shocked our conscience. He's for that.
Right.
This is where blindly supporting Israel ends up. Morally bankrupt monsters embracing slaughtering children. With a straight face, sitting in a suit jacket, with his khakis on and his sockless deck shoes. Yeah.
It's not just Israel. He's supporting the entire British hideous empire and every crime they ever did. He's not just... Israel is being justified by the crimes that we did during World War II, which I thought everybody had to read Kurt Vonnegut in school, where Kurt Vonnegut was trapped in Dresden, and that's what Slaughterhouse 5 is about. But I guess people don't read books and stuff.
Right.
I thought that was a crime for many years just from reading that book.
So then, underneath my tweet, this guy says, chairman of the board says, you always seem to gloss over how the whole effing thing started and the hostages that we're taking. He's talking about Israel. And I go, it started in 1948 with Nakba.
Yeah, what is he talking about? The raids outside the concentration camp that Netanyahu encouraged them to have, and he paid them. The terrorists that attacked them were paid for by their president.
So how do you like that for moral clarity? P.S. Jimmy Dore is the chairman of the board. And don't you forget it, punk.
Are you the chairman of the board now?
I don't know. I'm just making it up. I'm just making it up. Because that guy said he was chairman.
Sinatra was called that because he worked for the CIA.
He was saying he's the chairman of the board. I'm just coming in with the moral clarity chairman of the board.
Yeah, you chairman is suck my dick, Rich.
So get this. Piers Morgan retweets my tweet. It offended him. And he says, try watching the actual interview in proper context when perhaps you wouldn't post... Then perhaps you wouldn't post such... By the way, what context makes it cool to target children and slaughter them? There is no context.
Is it evil? A world war? That was evil.
Is it evil? Is it evil?
You fat ponce.
So
he is just a jelly. He's like everything of British private school that you would make fun of is Piers Morgan.
So then he goes on to say, try watching the actual interview in proper context. Then perhaps you wouldn't post such unutterably stupid garbage.
You did utter it. It's not. Here's what's unutterably stupid is to say, is it evil to blow kids up on purpose?
So then I just reposted what he said. To purposely target women and children, I think it's evil. Piers, is it evil? Tucker, Is it evil to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, I think it is. Piers, really? Tucker, how is it right to kill women and children? Piers, because I think there's a moral right behind you. Tucker, to kill women and children? Piers, if you're fighting a world war.
We're not, Piers.
And I said,
dumbass.
And I said to him, this is where you have to admit you said what you said because you said it, even if you don't understand how a video record of you saying it works.
Tucker said the same thing. Was he out of context sitting there in front of your dumb fat face? Was Tucker not getting the context of your idiot comments?
And the British have colonized the entire world through phrases such as inexorably mad, unfathomably dull, unutterably stupid. We live on boiled haggis. We marry our first cousins, but we're mean.
Dude, every time they try to trash Arabs for cousin marriage, I like to point out that all the Islamists you're talking bad about, they're as inbred as your King Charles. King Charles is as inbred as any Pakistani Islamist. People blame the Jews, but it's the British. It's these fat toffs. That's who's behind the whole thing. The Anglo-American world power, these scumbags. It's not the Jews. It's the Brits. And you can hear it come out of his awful... he's the biggest scumbag in the world. That's why he's backing Israel, because it supports what England did. You know that drug cartel that took over for a while? That's where their money comes from. King Charles is a drug kingpin.
So what this means when I say this is that I'm actually indicting what we did, what the Allies did in World War II, which is not going to get you a seat at the Grammys, Kurt.
No, it will not.
It will not.
It was worse than 9/11, what we did in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. That's a bigger crime. And so is Dresden. Dresden was a hideous crime that there's no excuse for. You know, how about instead of firebombing women and children to break their spirit, how about we firebomb the actual Nazis instead of saving them and bringing them to America to make America suck?
To run our science programs.
Yeah, Werner von Braun, instead of put him on Disney, why don't we burn him with fire? How about that? That would have been moral.
I mean, I've heard Piers Morgan breathlessly defend mandating experimental medical treatments, dangerous. And harmful experimental medical treatments on people. I've heard him do that. I've heard him defend the indefensible Ukraine war, which should have been over 5 minutes after it started, but NATO made them rip up the peace agreement, and now they're going to get a worse deal than they ever did after 500,000 of them got slaughtered. I've heard him do that. I've heard him defend Israel. I've heard him do lots of crazy. I never thought I would hear him look with a straight face, question whether targeting children for slaughter is it evil. Not only that, but then saying you have a moral right to do it. Well, like that is Al-Qaeda, ISIS stuff that we've been taught is Al-Qaeda, ISIS stuff. We've been told
Osama wrote it in his message to us. Osama wrote a letter of why it's okay for me to kill your women and children. And it pretty much echoed what Piers said.
What Piers just said. So again, this whole thing, Carl Jung could not be more than 1,000% right. So the people who scream the loudest about Hamas or about Al-Qaeda or ISIS or Russia or China are just as big or bigger monsters than the people they claim to be fighting. Because what that reveals right there is that Piers Morgan is a monster in his soul. That he is... this isn't some guy who spends all day selling hot dogs at the beach. This is a guy who, for a living, has been a news person and is supposed to be there to inform people. And he's like, no, you have a moral right to slaughter women and children. You do.
You don't remember Piers is the guy that was helping with the news of the world, the hacking into people's phones because that kidnapped girl? He's part of that. Remember that? Remember that big scandal, the Rupert Murdoch thing?
Well, Kurt, you have to talk about that in context.
Piers, when you say something as crazy as what you said directly to everyone's face, do you think we don't go, wait a minute, maybe I'm not getting the context? Because what you said is so insane. Of course, we all assume we didn't understand the context because who would say the thing you said,
That's
you
right.
fat idiot?
That's
and then
right.
when we looked at the context, you were indeed saying the idiotic thing that your fat British toff mouth said. You inbred serpent race lizard person. Of course we know the context.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So he thought, by the way, I just want to let you know, I ratioed the hell out of him on, like he got 425 likes on that. Piers Morgan, who I'm sure has way millions more Twitter followers. See how many Twitter followers he actually has.
Screw your brother and your brother-in-law too, bitch, Piers.
So I
like it's a moral authority.
So I responded to him, and you can't see it, but it's 2.6 thousand as of this airing. 2.6 thousand likes.
Yeah,
that is quite a spanking from a. What does he really think that? Did you really think you were gonna? It's on video. All I have to do is show the video.
You Christmas pudding of a man.
He has 8.8 million.
He has 8 million followers, and all he could manage was 400 likes on that.
I want to beat his belly with a wiffle ball bat, like Keith Robbins' old joke. I want to take a wiffle ball bat and smack his belly.
So he just wants. So he's hoping that people will go. Well, there's no. Just like you said, there's no way Piers Morgan would just say you could slaughter women and children and target non-combatants as if it's a moral thing. It has to be taken out of context. It has
because
to be.
That's a crazy thing to say.
That's an evil thing to say. That's worse than crazy. I can handle evil. That's evil. That's evil. That's Piers Morgan, full embracing of evil.
No, the morals behind him. He has moral. When you have the morals on your side, you can kill women and children on purpose in a war. Hey, war is hell because on purpose you're going to do terrorism, is what he said.
That's right. Okay, over to Steph.
All right. I just remember when Piers Morgan stormed off a set because of Meghan Markle. That's the level of his outrage. He's okay.
Meghan Markle's an idiot, but the king of your country is a reptile. So, I mean, cut her some slack. She sucks, but not as bad as a reptilian pedovore who is the king of your shitbag country, you fat idiot.
Yeah, he's only outraged about Meghan Markle, not about killing children. That doesn't stand up to his test.
By the way, they're all Germans. All the royalty are Germans. Yeah. They're not British.
Oh yeah.
So in case you're wondering who won World War II, it was indeed the Nazis.
Fernandez, wade in the water. Garland Nixon, what are you doing? I now identify as a 17th century powdered wig. Thank you for that one, Garland. Good to hear from you, amigo. Moment is a brand of Australian condoms. Snorky Y2K, thank you for the update. It may be difficult to actually get CIA and NGO money cut off with Soros and CIA stooge Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent writing the check. Sparky, look at you, investigative. Fatima Safanto, you fight on. Thank you, Kurt and Jimmy, for always being objective with Trump. He has a good sense of popular will, populist, but still has to deal with the oligarchs. Sean. The Jimmy Dore Show needs a sign language lady in the corner of all your live streams. She can even fake it as long as it's funny. Eric.
We should have Misha doing it.
Do you remember the one time that we were watching one, Jimmy? We were watching one do a disaster.
Yes.
And we lost our mind watching it. It was inappropriate how much we laughed. I know. Boosh, is David related to Boss Hogg? Boosh. Okay, here we go. Trump should replace Treasury Secretary Bessent with Mark Blythe. Mark knows how to recover an economy without subjecting people to crippling austerity. Reminder, have Mark Blythe on for his latest thoughts. Sparky, I love the reminder. We'll talk about him tomorrow. Thank you so much, amigo. I've wanted Mark Blythe. Oh, that's for you. Brent, hey, Jim. Dems aren't in power anymore. Is Trump and Elon ever going to be called out with anger for censoring and deporting U.S. citizens on behalf of a foreign nation, or is anger only for shitlibs? You know what? I just want to ask Brent. I missed what U.S. citizen had been deported. A really serious question. If you're outraged, I'm outraged too. Deporting a U.S. citizen. You know when that happened in the 1930s, that they actually deported American citizens. Did you know that? Mexicans. American Mexican citizens. They deported them.
And then
read that. Put that in your history books. They don't have it. What, Jim?
And then they put American citizens in camps. You know,
yeah, Japanese Americans.
FDR did that.
Yeah, but so serious question here, Brent. You said that they're deporting U.S. citizens on behalf of a foreign nation. I don't understand that, so I don't want to shit on the comment. Or is anger only for shitlibs? Brent, anger is only for shitlibs.
What U.S. citizen? I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I do want to know. I fucking would be outraged.
I would not be for that, just so you know. I'm against that.
Are you for that or not for that?
Well,
U.S.
where are you going to
citizen.
deport me if I'm from here? Back to my house? I don't understand how that even works.
You know, I had a horrible neighbor. I wanted her deported, but she is a U.S. citizen. So, how long is a moment officially, Eric? Eric wants to know, hey, WEF is still doing its thing in Davos and everybody distracted with red, blue, just the way they want it. Right, SS? Thank you, Jay. The helicopter crash had Mossad ties. They didn't release her name until after they scrubbed her social media. Livy, really? I know that she was an intern in the White House. That was weird. But why would they scrub her social media? Why?
Listen, get ready for a bunch of these. Just so you know, get ready for a whole bunch of stuff like this because you think the deep state's not going to flex their balls and say, hey, what are you doing, NSA ID and all that? That's what all that stuff is. So we already know about the remote controls that can control the planes and helicopters and whatever. We had the guy on. So you think they're not going to use that? Plus, don't forget all the MK Ultras walking around that they can switch on, like the fake ISIS attack in New Orleans.
Right.
That was not an ISIS. Like the guy with the Tesla truck. Do we all just forget about this? That's MK Ultra people. So they're going to activate them. They're going to do a lot of crazy stuff because of this. Just buckle up for it. And I'm not like, oh, Trump's great because I'm not entirely sure that, well, here's what I'm entirely sure of. It's another faction of deep state against this despicable new world, globalist deep state, but it's still deep state.
Right.
Probably a lot of mafia because they're kind of patriotic,
Right. I agree. Newman from Seinfeld is running for DNC chair. Eric, I know which clip. He's here for the moment to out Pizza the Hut. Aaron.
That
large DNC guy looks like that guy who steals the DNA from Jurassic Park and puts it in the shaving cream can. Shooter McKevin.
Wayne Knight.
Democrats have nothing more to offer than singing and tap dancing. Make the best of what's around. Ghost Shark moments. Thank you. Space Jew. Thank you for that. That hurts my ears, Steph. I gotta get my gong. If my executive producer, assistant / BFF could write down gong for staff, that would be great. Inside of the Ages, DEI on display, no merit, fat chance, literally fat chance.
Okay.
Back to Jim.